let's be clear. The big tech giants are on record in the last 6 months saying they're preparing strategies to bring in Chinese net-style censorship to America. And you've had Facebook, Google, and others working with the Communist Chinese, along with Microsoft, to help perfect new systems in China. Now, Eric Trump and others are getting censored more and more. They're not letting positive tweets come to the top of Trump's feed. They've been not letting people like Trump tweets. It'll just artificially make it go to a negative. So it doesn't just block you. It falsely votes for you, kind of like the electronic voting machines that voted for Hillary in those 5 states she stole. That's been confirmed. She tried to break into 6 others because she's the Madam President. Newsweek said so. Well, now we notice in the live feed of Eric Trump that it said this has been blocked as sensitive or controversial or racist material. And Leanne and Jack Masubik are going to ride shotgun on this the rest of the hour right now. And then, boom. Jobs, jobs, jobs. Eric Trump. There's the censored tweet. A link to the Drudge Report with mainstream news articles admitting massive job increases, 1 million+ new jobs in the last 6 months, 200,000+ in just the last month. And then all the other good numbers and top analysts saying, you know, even though the Fed's raising rates, the Trump recovery's barreling over this. And then Greenspan comes out and says, no, it's going to crash. They're trying to keep Obamacare in to crash it. They're trying to stop tax cuts to crash it. They're failing because of prosperity and people voting with their dollars and taking action. And I want to salute you, America. This is so incredible. This is so incredible to be in the middle of this epic fight. And Zach has a great point. He's one of our producers. This is a classic shadow ban. YouTube announces, we don't like what you say, we're going to put you into Phantom Zone. Nobody can see your video, you can't share it, but if you've got the exact link, well, then you can give it to your little group. That's the Phantom Zone, you know, where they put General Zod. Well, now this is worse. It just doesn't let you see what you tweeted. YouTube takes steps to censor controversial, aka conservative content. We're going back to Leanne McAdoo here in a moment. But we've all got to use Twitter and Facebook to point out this is happening. So they've always gone after really little people and just kicked them off because they didn't have a voice. Now they're going after the biggest, Trump. And if they can censor him, remember the headlines? Twitter may ban Trump. Remember that? The president may be banned off Twitter. Well, then everybody else can be banned. They're coming. They're coming. They're coming. They're coming. They're coming. They're killing cops all over the country. They want the borders open. I mean, the globalists are a criminal group, and they're pissed because they've committed so many crimes. And now all the criminal info's coming out with Debbie Wasserman Schultz and Hillary and all of it. And now they're trying to get a Justice Department in there that'll prosecute, and they're fighting for their wicked, corrupt, evil lives right now. So pray for Trump. Pray for Infowars. Pray for an awakening, but also take action. Zach, give us your take on this incredible news. We just tweeted it at Real Alex Jones, a screenshot of the tweet of a Drudge link to articles about the jobs numbers. Nothing positive about the president can be said. It must be blocked. They'll block anything, including official jobs numbers. That's what they don't want you to know is the good news. It's all lies, that he's lazy, that he didn't get anything done. That's the cover of the new fake Newsweek, that he didn't get anything done. He's lazy. Zach, go ahead and make your point. Well, we're going to fade Zach up here in just a moment. Always wanted to get the crew on, but it's a Herculean effort I'm not allowed to do. Okay, let's get him up to the podium. We're going to beat this once and for all here on air. I don't care what it takes. We're going to start getting the crew on the show. We're just going to do it. So I put a full studio in there, 7, 8 microphones, cameras, whole 9 yards. This is the final piece of the equation. Okay. We're breaking the will of the gremlin in that room right now. Okay, let's go ahead, Zach. Make your point.
Okay, so the point I was trying to make before was the fact that it's a perfect example of a shadow ban. If you go overhead and notice that on the page itself, if we go ahead and put up the tweet, if you notice that when it's shown up on Drudge Report, the link itself, you could see it because whoever the account is that took the screen grab is following him. Normally, a verified account proves that someone on Twitter will always have their content shown on Twitter. But if you notice that when you go to the other screenshot, hold on a second, let me switch over to it.
Sure, go ahead and do that. We're going to do this together now. We're going to get the crew on air and use that studio. Yes,
So you see
right.
there, it's not followed and it's blocked off. So it's a perfect example of if you're not following them on Twitter, even if it's verified or not, you'll notice that it's completely blocked. So you have to be a follower. So it's a way of them to only show that only a certain group of people are allowed to see that specific tweet.
And first they segregate you into these electronic ghettos.
Yeah.
And then they completely shut you off.
Exactly. So it's just one of many ways that they're going to use, just kind of like a siphoning of the echo chamber system that they were using in Facebook, where the news was getting cycled to be specifically for you. Same thing with the Twitter. The users are going to have tweets that are only going to be seen by people that only follow those specific people.
Because if we show Democrat Party cult members that the economy's coming back and that he had a good repeal bill, or that good things are happening, or that ISIS was defeated, they're not allowed to see that. They're supposed to see Newsweek where everything's horrible and nothing's good and the president's a failure.
Yep. And the worst part about it is that this is just about jobs. I mean, it could be worse if it was about extremist content or about anything that was racially charged, but this is literally just a link on the top left of Drudge.
And they're testing, because they don't want us to challenge all their lies. Leanne McAdoo, we've got Posobiec here with his White House sources. Infowars has been completely banned. Giving Trump Infowars is banned. Anybody that speaks out against globalism is fired. Anyone who ever wrote about globalism is fired. That's in Breitbart today by McMaster. What do you make of this? This just shows that all the talk of coup that they say is coming soon, they're getting ready for the big censorship once they murder the president.
Right. Well, of course, and we know the Obama administration set the precedent of targeting journalists, coming after leakers. James Risen actually put an article out back in December saying, look, if Trump starts to target journalists, well, we have Obama to thank for that. And I know at the time we were really, I was really concerned that it was going to be Hillary Clinton who was going to be the next dictator in charge that would be taking the precedent set by Obama and taking it a step further to target her political enemies and her enemies there in the press, which would be us, and of course the dark heart Alex Jones. And so now we're seeing that CNN and these others, they're kind of rallying around McMaster and putting out these stories about how he is now being targeted by the alt-right and the conservative media. And so they're rallying around McMaster. So it'll be interesting to see if indeed this purge happens of the new media, of the alt media, how it will be celebrated by the free and independent press there that's supposed to be helping our country, helping to check those in power. Will they celebrate the fact that the deep state and these other agencies are able to shut us down? Or will they stand up for us and do what's right and stand up for the First Amendment?
Exactly. I came to Twitter late. We only got about 2 million followers on our different accounts right now. That's still pretty good. But on Paul Watson's Twitter right now, I'm going to retweet it. On The Real Alex Jones, I need every listener and viewer that's on Twitter, or if you're not on Twitter, go get on it. Conservatives go, oh, they're censoring, I'll leave. No, get in there because they want to deny it. They want to operate in the dark. We're going to force these rats out in the open. Next, they're going to ban us speaking in the street, which they openly say. That's why they beat us and attack us in the street. They're a group of disgusting thugs, and we will defeat them. And listeners, everybody should follow me at Real Alex Jones. Everybody should follow Leanne McAdoo on her Twitter. Everybody should follow all of us and hammer it out there everywhere. We are risking our lives because we know there's no future if we don't do this. But everybody's got to get this Eric Trump tweet retweeted because we have it where you can see it, the screenshot at Real Alex Jones. Retweet it. We'll put it back on screen for TV viewers. Radio listeners, go to Real Alex Jones. Sign up for it if you're not on Twitter. If you are, follow us and retweet it. Breaking: Twitter censors Donald Trump Jr.'s Drudge tweet showing great American job numbers. Now, let's show the other one. Remember the big prayer thing that we and others have launched? And we had the pastor on, Pastor Brown, who want to get back on. They launched a big movement to pray for Trump. This needs to go viral. Facebook bans President Trump's prayer team page while keeping Teen Vogue, who's telling 11-year-olds how to have sex. So this big Facebook prayer deal got hundreds of thousands of people on it. They banned that. That video is being retweeted right now at Infowars.com and on our Twitter at Real Alex Jones. I want to bring in Jack Posobiec. Stay right there, Leanne McAdoo. Jack Posobiec, of course, launched one of the biggest grassroots Trump organizations. He works up there on the Capitol, starting to do more and more work with us. And Jack Posobiec is on Twitter at Jack Posobiec, Posobiec, or citizensfortrump.com. And he's got the intel. Cernovich broke the big purge months ago of McMaster's. That's now confirmed. Now the news story by Jack Posobiec. White House to staffers. If you like InfoWars or Milo, you're fired. And I've confirmed that Kelly's firing anybody that tries to hand the president a piece of news saying, quote, he'll go with anything, like the NSA was spying on him under Obama, which has been admitted. So they are isolating him right now. Jack Posobiec, that the censorship, we're seeing more censorship the last month than we've seen the last decade. And this is clearly just a test. They are accelerating it exponentially, as I predicted they would, ahead of the coup they say is coming. Jack Posobiec.
You're absolutely right, Alex. And this is a story that was actually landed in my lap a few months ago. I wanted to run it down because it sounded completely egregious to me. They said, why would the White House, when it's dealing with so many leaks of classified intelligence, when it's dealing with so many some of these interns that are recording private speeches of White House officials like Jared Kushner, leaking that to the media, why would they care so much about what the interns and the lower level staffers are posting on their Facebook? Okay, you like something by Alex Jones, you shared something by InfoWars. Why would that be an issue? And now we're realizing that the reason they're clamping down on this is because they're trying to keep it away from the president. They don't want the president seeing this news. They don't want the president seeing any information outside of what they give to him, outside of what they present.
So they can demoralize him. He's not been demoralized. Exactly. His spirits are high, but the intel is they want to demoralize him, cut him off before they start drugging him. And they don't want our intel about the coup getting to him as well. They're desperate to cut him off from his base.
That's exactly what it is, Alex. And thankfully, he still does have that cell phone. He still does have communications with other people that he can get out to. But anyone in the staff that they've found that it's been supportive of Trump, a Trump loyalist, or that is, this is a way they can find you. They say, we are going to go to your social media pages. We're going to go to your Facebooks. We're going to go to your Twitters. We're going to see who you're following. We're going to see who you're liking. We're going to see who you're sharing. This is how, and on the flip side, I kind of look at this from the perspective of this is how scared they are of independent new media and real journalism. This is the power of the truth because they have to do anything they can. They're spending 24 hours a day trying to prevent the truth from getting to where it needs to be, because that's how much of a threat that InfoWars and independent new media journalists are to these deep staters and the coup that they're trying to perpetrate on President Trump.
And let's talk about treason. Leanne, I want you to pop in on this. This is Breitbart yesterday. A top official in the National Security Council was fired last month by National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster, reportedly after he argued in a memo that President Trump's administration is under sustained attack from globalists and Islamicists. Well, I mean, that's the groups that are out there funding domestically against him. Peter Higgins, a former Pentagon official who served in the NSC Strategic Planning Office as Director of Strategic Planning, was fired on July 21st. The Atlantic first reported, that's the globalist enemy mouthpiece, celebrating bringing down a high-level patriot who's telling the president the sky's blue. He's under total globalist Islamic attack. The globalists have declared war on him in all their main publications. The memo was written in late May, described threats to the administration by globalist, bankers, deep state, and Islamicists that McMaster works with. Globalists and Islamicists recognize that their versions to succeed America, both as an ideal and a national political identity, must be destroyed. Totally true. Oh my gosh, get rid of him immediately. He's a good person. Let's continue right here. Why do they want InfoWars banned, folks? Because we're Americans, we're not cowards, and we're not going down without a fight. Higgins was called to the White House counsel's office 2 weeks ago and asked about the memo. Oh my gosh, we caught you. It's not that he's with the Russians, it's that he's a patriot. Later that week, he was told by McMaster deputy he was losing his job, which they never tell Trump about. The memo compared what Trump administration was facing to a Maoist insurgency. Well, that's what they model it after. In Maoist insurgencies, the formation of the counter-state, they build their counter-state, see? Their shadow government is essential to seizing state power, the memo said. Functioning as a hostile, complete state, acting within the existing state. That is a memo on McMaster. But we must get this to the president. Because the left is aligned with the Islamist organization at local, national, international levels, recognition should be given to the fact that they seamlessly interoperate through coordinated, synchronized, interactive narratives. Yes, this is the truth. This is the key transmission that would bring them all down right here. Leanne McAdoo, we've got to get this to the president.
Isn't it incredible that they would fire him immediately and other people as well that would actually be trying to get this type of information out? And obviously, there's something going on that is against the president's agenda when there are continual leaks. 126 days of his presidency and 125 leaks have happened, some of those actually threatening our national security. Obviously, there are people working against the president's agenda, and it's quite frightening that we
and they're totally allied with radical Islam. It's everywhere. Exactly, Leanne. This is the whole plan. This is the takeover, and they're arming against us. When they kill Trump, they're coming after everybody else. Sorry, Leanne, go ahead.
Well, and I was trying to find an article that I saw earlier this morning, but it was like 20 people Israel should fear more than Linda Sarsour, and it was naming people that were actually Jewish. So Jewish people
Linda
should fear
Sarsour,
Jewish
whose
people.
family's in prison and all the rest of it is good, and she wants to have a jihad. She's liberal. She's good.
Right, and they've all aligned themselves with her. Maybe when she made her little jihad comment, everyone kind of quieted down. Senator
Have you
Bernie
seen the
Sanders
BBC running women in full burqa saying this is good, accept it?
I've got a bomb under here. That was pretty weird.
Well, I mean, it's clear they're going to make their run, but I think they've been exposed. I think they're, Jack, I mean, I think they've gone too far. And the fact that everybody at the Pentagon basically knows what this fellow was just saying, game over, man. Go ahead, kill the president.
Well, now that they've fired him, it's actually backfired because now more people are reading the memo that he wrote. It's actually getting out to a wider audience because they went and fired him. Now people are saying, oh, what's in the memo that fired him? Globalists and jihadists? Yeah, that's what I believe, too. Why is this guy fired?
That's right. In fact, I want the full memo published on InfoWars. This is the memo that scares McMaster and the traitors. This memo will bring down the traitors. McMaster's doesn't want you, Deep State doesn't want you to read this memo.
I mean, talk about traitors. You've got McMaster granting Susan Rice her same level of security clearance. At the same time, Trump is actively saying we need to find the leakers. I'm being surveilled. Oh, no, you're not. That's a big lie. How are you going to lie to the people? No, they wiretapped Trump Tower. And so at the same time that Trump is saying this to the American people, McMaster is saying, I don't think Susan Rice did anything wrong. I'm gonna allow her to still have her same level of security clearance. It's insane. Why are the neocons surrounding Trump? What do they have on him? What's happening?
Well, again, they even admit in the memo, as I've said on air without the memo, the Bolsheviks, same globalist operatives, they created a state within a state for years in Russia, only controlled Moscow. And then they got everybody through time to turn in their guns through propaganda. Then they slaughtered millions of people. So they admit that it is a Maoist strategy. That's what the weathermen taught Obama. They are all carrying out a Maoist strategy with deep staters and cowards like McMaster's and others that Trump picked. They get approached by deep state. They get scared and they join with it because they want to play golf and do whatever while we're being carted off to death camps. And, you know, pot-bellied liberals are kicking our brains out and raping our families, literally. And that's what the left talks about, is how they're going to rape us, how they're going to murder us, how they're going to have all these little nobodies. This is their existential dream of power, is to run around defecating on everybody.
Well, people need to look no further than Venezuela and what happened. That's the exact same thing that they did there just several years ago. They got rid of the guns. Everyone turn in your guns because we want to be a peaceful nation. And then just about a year or so later, we saw the total collapse there where the government was actually purging people who are eating dogs and giraffes out of the zoo, purging them because they don't have the guns or anything to fight back.
They've got the whole corporate media. They got Hollywood. They got the Vatican. They got the EU. And they claim the Russians are the reason that we're doing this. We recognize the globalist enemy, and it knows there's a total awakening, so it wants to violently bring back the clock, purge everybody. They're never going to get away with it. This is America, and you may have turned a lot of people into brain-dead zombies, but it's like saying this is Sparta. There is still a giant contingent of people of every race, color, and creed that are information warfare defeating you, and if it goes physical, once they kick off that alarm bell, they're going to run false flags, try to make us look like the bad guys. We all know it's them. We're going to move forward against the globalist and against their operatives, and we are going to sweep and clear the enemy. Go ahead, Posobiec.
Yeah, it only shows their hand even so more. When the minute you start telling the truth, they try to slap you down. The minute they start sharing anything that has a headline that's anti-them, they try to ban it. They are going to be forcing their hand so much that they're showing us, they're exposing us what their actual plans are. They're trying to ban us. They're trying to shut us down. They're trying to fire people for speaking the truth. that's only going to mean
And
that more
Posobiec,
people are
we're
gonna hear
not
it.
the radicals saying all this. They're on C-SPAN at the Aspen Institute with Wolf Blitzer, Brennan, and Clapper saying a violent overthrow is coming in the next few months. Don't wait for impeachment. We're now moving. And then Al Gore goes on the Late Late Show and says the same thing. I mean, they are doing it.
Yeah, they're doing it, but they don't understand that the American people that voted for Donald Trump voted against them, voted against these things. And they don't understand that the massive amounts of people that are sick and tired of Washington, D.C. and the elites vastly outnumber anyone that they have on their side. No one is listening to these people anymore, and no one is going to obey these people when they're told to do anything further.
What's the word? This McMaster guy, I know he couldn't get a new national security guy. He got McMaster because he was in a successful tank battle or something, and then I look into McMaster, and he's got all these, I mean, I understand I can hardly run my operation. I got great people, but it's hard to get people, you know, to run. I could imagine having 4,000 employees and then millions of people under you like Trump. But, I mean, this McMaster and people, I mean, they are just absolutely countermanding the president all the time, doing whatever they want, purging patriots. Let's get more into the specifics of how you learned about how they're using Infowars or Milo as a litmus test.
Right. So one of the things that I heard was this first started out by hearing it from people, this staffer by the name of Jana Toner. Now, she works in the presidential personnel office under a guy by the name of Johnny DeStefano, whose name I know has been heard on Infowars quite a bit for being a never Trumper, a former John Boehner staffer who is in there. This woman, Jana Toner, she is also a member of the establishment. Her family is very tied in with the Bush dynasty. Her husband has worked for CNN, has worked for the Bushes on numerous campaigns. She's been Department of Education, Department of Energy. She's tied to No Child Left Behind, the whole 9 yards. So why is a person like this with that kind of pedigree even put into a place where she's overseeing the hiring of junior staff at the White House, the hiring of interns, being in charge of that? She has actually been heard personally speaking out against Alex Jones, against Milo Yiannopoulos, against Infowars in the White House, saying to people just almost wantonly that if you're liking them, if you're sharing them, we are going to dismiss you. This is not the place for you. Interns and other staff have said that it's described as a chilling effect, because these are people who are coming in there. Many of the times, you know, they support the president, they support their country, they want to do a good job. They're someone who's coming out of college. They're thinking, oh my goodness, I'm here at the White House. I just hope I do well. And then they're wondering, why are you worried about my Facebook so much? I'm not doing anything bad on there. Yeah, maybe I have a party picture or something like that. But why is me sharing news with a headline that says Infowars.com on it such a threat?
And let's be clear, now they won't let the president share his links. Now they won't let his son when it's jobs numbers. It's incredible. Jack Posobiec, I'm going to come back to you in a moment. Leanne, there was other points, other stories you wanted to get into. Let's spend a few minutes shifting gears into this other story that you gave me that was so interesting.
Yeah, and let's not forget, I just wanted to bookend what Jack was talking about. It was the Reality Lee winner. They didn't check her social media accounts when she was this huge Bernie supporter and ended up leaking intel. So, you know, it's not the people who actually care about this country that are trying to systematically take it down from within. So they need to take a long look at themselves. But I also wanted to talk about a story that happened yesterday. The 20-year-old girl that encouraged her boyfriend to get back in his truck and finish off the suicide that he had been telling her. She urged her boyfriend via text message to go ahead and carry out his suicide. She was a juvenile at the time, so the judge gave her a more lenient sentence. But now what this means, words kill. It's not just your actions that kill, but this sets the precedent that now words that you put out there.
Total political correctness, because now you can joke and say, fine, if you think there's too many humans, kill yourself. Well, somebody kills themselves. Now I go to jail because I use that as a verbal flourish. Again, you're right. That's the political correctness now.
Right. Or trying to say the guy that went into the pizza shop, they tried to pin that on you. Where do we stop? Where does this end? Where they can say, oh, well, you encourage that, so now you're going to go to jail. They're setting a very dangerous precedent here. Even legal analysts say this should have never even gone to a judge. Yeah, thanks for giving her. This is
pure judicial activism, because a lot of times boyfriends and girls or whatever, it's well known, will say, I'll commit suicide if you don't come back to me. That's a standard deal. Right. She's like, oh yeah, go finish it off then, not knowing it happens, and now she's going to have 15 months in jail for not, you know, oh, you're going to commit suicide. Yeah, right. Go ahead, do it. I mean, you know, That's one way some cops will say to have somebody not do it, is like you're begging them to come off. You go, okay, fine, go ahead and do it. And a lot of times they'll cry and say, you don't love me, and come. That's actually a tactic. Sometimes they do jump. The cop gets in trouble. But the point is that it doesn't matter. It's your free speech.
Well, think about all the people.
Like, I mean, I hope George Soros kills himself. I do. I'm sorry. I don't wish any harm upon him, but I want him to stop hurting people. I'm sorry, Leanne, go ahead.
Well, think about all the people that are on the internet encouraging people who are live streaming, encouraging them to kill themselves or commit crimes or drink and drive. I mean, this is a lot of people could be affected by this ruling.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I hope all Nazi collaborators kill themselves, or at least just stop trying to kill everybody else. Absolutely. All right, we'll be right back. Finish up with Jack Posobiec. Then Mike Cernovich is ready to roll. 4th hour straight ahead. Spread the link. You can still do it. They're trying to block it. Man, I tell you, the globalists are really jumping the shark here, but it means they're going for broke. They wouldn't be engaged in censorship of this level on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, of the president's son, of the president himself, of Jack Posobiec, Mike Cernovich, everybody else, if they weren't meaning to go for broke. And they're saying, don't worry, a big event's coming. We're going to remove the president. It's going to be sudden. And our sources have talked to the folks in Congress and others. They say, no, it's going to be violent. It's going to be physical. And then we're just sitting here watching them get ready. It's crazy. Jack Posobiec, what is your word you're getting in D.C. on this? Clearly, they're isolating the president ahead of this. What is your take, your view, your intel, your gut level on the situation right now?
Well, there's 2 levels right now, and it seems that both are fighting over the culprit in the current state being H.R. McMaster. So he's being one of the highest level plants the deep state has had in there. And make no mistake, that's essentially what he is. When they got rid of Flynn, they made sure to get their man in, and it was H.R. McMaster. We have now seen him purging Trump loyalists up and down. Now, I'm hearing different things from different people. I'm hearing some people saying that H.R. McMaster's welcome has been worn out, and he's on, he might be looking at a promotion and maybe moving out of the White House. I'm also hearing that he's going to stay. He's been told by members of the administration that they don't want to see too much turnover. They just lost Reince Priebus, that he's going to go too. But my hope is that General Kelly, the new chief of staff who was in there for Priebus, I hope that he's going to understand that H.R. McMaster, these decisions that he's been making are outside of the chain of command. He's not going to Trump for any of this stuff. He's not going to Trump for any of these decisions he's making. He's making them unilaterally. And the last time I checked, 4 stars, which is what Kelly's had, was more than 3, which is what McMaster has.
Plus, he's the chief of staff. He's the chief of staff.
Right. And he's the chief of staff. So he outranks him in terms of that chain of command as well. But even in the military hierarchy, he doesn't outrank him. So I'm hoping that there's going to be a nucleus there where he understands that this guy is acting unilaterally, and that whether or not Kelly is essentially understanding of the deep state construct, the counter state, which is trying to block everything that Trump is doing, he's going to understand that this is someone that's acting outside of the purview of the president. And hopefully, if we can use, now we can't use Facebook and Twitter to get information to the president, but we're going to be able to use our encrypted communications, dead drops if we have to. We are going to get InfoWars truth into the White House, into the president. We're going to get it to the senior staff. We're going to make sure they know that these people are coming for them, that they're making these decisions not in your best interest, not in the interest of the country or the administration. They're trying to curtail you. They're trying to stop the America First MAGA movement. And we're going to be doing everything we can to get that information to people that need it.
I don't know of a strong enough response in the information war to them openly saying, kill Trump, kill his family, overthrow him, major publications saying COG, coup the president. That's why they're running this Russian narrative to say, oh, we don't do impeachment, we just kill him. I mean, what should Trump do to Brennan and people like that on TV saying this? I mean, that's a clear and present danger right there. I mean, I just can't sit here and put up with this anymore.
Yeah, where is the special prosecutor for Brennan, for Rice? Where is the special prosecutor for any of these individuals that have been caught leaking and unmasking? Where is the special prosecutor for all of the abuses of the intelligence infrastructure, the intelligence community that we see now have come out starting in the Obama administration and now being carried on by the
That's right. Briefly, what do you make of this swamp thing? I mean, isn't it perfect that the grand jury is being born out of the swamp?
Yeah, the grand jury, it's a joke. They're going to a grand jury. There's an old saying about grand juries that a grand jury would indict a ham sandwich if you wanted it to, because they only hear from one side. They only hear from the prosecution. This is being done as a witch hunt, and it's only being done because Mueller doesn't have any facts or evidence of his own. So he's going to say, well, I'm not indicting. The grand jury's indicting based on the evidence.
Sure, exactly, which is incredible. All right. Jack Posobiec, great job. Tell folks how they follow you on Twitter.
Yeah, my name, Jack, JCKPOSOBIEC. You can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. I'm there until I'm banned.
We're going to post your article from Medium.com. The White House staffers, if you like InfoWars, you're fired.
In ancient times, man roamed the earth in a constant state of hunting or being hunted. Introducing Caveman, where cutting-edge science meets ancient super nutrients. Secure your bottle right now at InfoWarsStore.com.